Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. We're starting off with a developing story that's making waves globally. The United States has been conducting military operations in the Caribbean Sea as part of its efforts to combat drug trafficking. However, these actions have sparked controversy and criticism from various countries, including Russia and China. According to reports, the U.S. has targeted numerous boats in the region, resulting in several deaths. The U.S. Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has defended these actions, stating that they are necessary to stem the flow of drugs into the country. However, other nations have expressed concerns about the use of excessive military force and potential violations of international law. Russia, in particular, has been vocal in its criticism, denouncing the U.S. for using excessive military force in the region. The Russian Foreign Ministry has stated that such actions are in violation of both U.S. domestic legislation and international law. Russia has also reaffirmed its support for Venezuela's leadership, which has been at odds with the U.S. over various issues. Meanwhile, China has agreed to establish direct communication channels with the U.S. military to help avoid conflicts and de-escalate any problems that may arise. This development comes after a meeting between U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun in Kuala Lumpur. As the situation continues to unfold, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and evaluate the implications of these actions on global relations and security. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story and providing updates as more information becomes available. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're diving into a complex and intriguing story that's been making headlines around the world. The situation involves the United States and Nigeria, with President Donald Trump threatening military action against the West African country. According to reports, President Trump has asked the Defense Department to prepare for possible fast military action in Nigeria if the country fails to crack down on the killing of Christians. This move comes after the U.S. added Nigeria back to a list of nations that have violated religious freedoms. Nigeria's government has responded by saying it would welcome U.S. help in fighting Islamist insurgents, but only as long as its territorial integrity is respected. The Nigerian president, Bola Tinubu, has pushed back against accusations of religious intolerance and defended his country's efforts to protect religious freedom. It's essential to understand the context of this situation. Nigeria is a country with over 200 ethnic groups, divided between a largely Muslim north and a mostly Christian south. Islamist insurgents like Boko Haram have wreaked havoc in the country for years, killing thousands of people, but their attacks have been largely confined to the northeast, which is majority Muslim. While Christians have been killed, the vast majority of victims have been Muslims. Analysts say that Islamist violence is part of complex and often overlapping conflict dynamics in the country, involving political power, land disputes, ethnicity, cult affiliation, and banditry. As this situation continues to unfold, it's crucial to consider the potential consequences of U.S. military action in Nigeria. Security experts warn that any airstrikes would likely target small groups scattered across a large area, making it a challenging task. The U.S. may require help from the Nigerian military and government, which President Trump has threatened to cut off from assistance. We'll continue to monitor this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the situation is complex and multifaceted, requiring a nuanced understanding of the issues at play. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I want to bring to your attention a developing story that's been unfolding in Sudan. The African nation has been embroiled in a civil war since April 2023, and recent reports have emerged of widespread atrocities committed by the Rapid Support Forces, a paramilitary group fighting against the army-backed government. According to various sources, including the World Health Organization and human rights groups, hundreds of people have been executed in the city of El Fasher, which was recently captured by the RSF. The city, located in western Sudan, has been under siege for over a year, and the humanitarian situation is dire. Approximately 30,000 civilians have fled the area, and reports suggest that about 2,000 people have been killed since the RSF entered the city. The international community has condemned the violence, with European Union leaders calling for an immediate de-escalation of the conflict. The U.S. has also sanctioned the head of the RSF, citing genocide, and has urged all parties to commit to a peace deal. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates, which has been accused of backing the RSF, has denied any involvement and has called for a humanitarian truce. It's essential to note that the conflict in Sudan is complex, with multiple factions and interests involved. While it's crucial to acknowledge the atrocities committed by the RSF, it's also important to recognize that the situation on the ground is nuanced, and all parties must be held accountable for their actions. As the situation continues to unfold, it's vital for world leaders to prioritize a peaceful resolution to the conflict, ensuring the protection of civilians and the delivery of humanitarian aid to those in need. The people of Sudan deserve our attention, support, and commitment to helping them build a more stable and peaceful future. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.